Today, I'm going to be showing you guys the best loadout for every single boss fight in Black Ops 6 Zombies so far, and this is up to Shattered Veil. And this is going to be your guns, which ones you should bring in, how you should build them, their attachments, your perks, field upgrades, equipment, and even streaks if those things are necessary to bring up for these ultimate loadouts. Now, the reason I'm doing this kind of late is kind of because of three reasons. One, just because if you guys want to see the current best way to beat these boss fights, this is perfect for you, showing you the best way to beat them or best guns to beat them. But on top of that, there's recently been a King of the Dead event that was actually really fun that just wrapped up, but I believe it's going to be coming back really soon. And the best way to rise up in those leaderboards is by doing Easter eggs, and I want to help you guys get to the top of those leaderboards, except if you're in my leaderboard, you're not allowed to use these loadouts. Just kidding, but you know. Also, there has been a rumor that there's going to be a super Easter egg in DLC 4 that's going to require you to have beaten all the previous Easter eggs. So if you guys haven't beat the previous Easter eggs yet and you're struggling with the boss fights, this video is perfect for you. But regardless of your reasons, I very much appreciate you guys clicking on the video. And if you guys do go on to find this video helpful, definitely let me know by dropping a like, subscribing, hitting that bell button. But also, if I do miss anything, let me know down in the comment section below if there's something I should have been adding to this. But anyways, let's not waste any more time and get into the ultimate loadouts for Black Ops 6 Zombies. Now let's start off with Terminus, and in terms of loadout, the best thing to start off with is always going to be your gun. Now, to be honest with you guys, ever since Double Tap was added to the game, a lot of guns are really broken on this map, whether that's the Maelstrom, AS Valve, or just a million different guns. But if you're looking for the all-out best guns and not even worried about how well they perform before you get into the boss fight, the best gun to use is going to be the Grakova pistol. But it has to be built in a specific way, and the attachments I recommend are going to be Suppressor, CHF barrel, but then it becomes important here, Extended Mag 3, Akimbo, the most important one, and then also Rapid Fire. And when you use this build, it's going to absolutely kill this thing way too fast. Now, obviously, make sure this gun is triple pack punch gold rarity, but something that's really important too, make sure you have the Napalm Burst ammo mod equipped, because this boss does change his elemental weakness throughout the boss fights, but the form he's in the most is when he's weak to Napalm Burst. Now, the next thing worth talking about is going to be your perks, and I'm not going to babysit you through this one. You can rather look on screen what I'm using, use your own common sense, but in terms of damage, to make this boss fight absolutely fly, the most important ones to bring in are going to be Double Tap and Deadshot Daiquiri. Next, we have our field upgrade, and it doesn't matter too much, but I like using Frenzy Guard, because if you use the augments, Frenzy Fired, and extension is kind of like a poor man's free fire, and also you're practically invincible when it's active, so I like that a lot, but it doesn't matter too much for this boss fight. Your lethal doesn't matter too much, but your tactical, I highly recommend bringing in a shock charge, because when the boss is doing his wipe attack and you're hiding behind the boxes, an amalgam could show up and try to kill you and throw you out there to get hit by the wipe attack, but we could do to easily avoid that is just throw a shock charge at the floor and you'll be completely fine. And finally, it's going to be your score streak, and you're probably not even going to need this, but as usual, the best score streak for this map is going to be the Chopper Gunner. And if you want to use it at any point, I'd recommend using it during the Charcoal Fire phase, because that's when it's hardest to hit him in his weak points. But like I said, you probably don't even need it. But with that set up, that should make what was once a difficult boss fight into an absolute breeze. Next, we have Liberty Falls, and Liberty Falls really doesn't have a real boss fight. Instead, it's just fighting zombies for a bit and then dealing with elite enemies. So what I personally like to do is just bring in the jet gun to deal with regular zombies and pack punch it at least once. You don't really need to pack punch it more than that, but more importantly, we then need to find a gun to deal with elite enemies. And the absolute best gun at dealing with elite enemies has to be the Olympia. And what's even better than that is that it doesn't even really need any attachments. It only has 2 attachment slots, and you don't even really need those ones. So this is like a plug and play type of gun, not having to worry about leveling up at all. But when you do get it, make sure it's pack punch level 3 gold rarity, and this is very important with your ammo mod. Make sure you have Napalm Burst on it, because both the Abomination and Mangler are both weak to Napalm Burst. And those are the 2 elites you're going to be fighting, obviously. As for your perks, use the obvious ones, not going to babysit you through those ones, but as always, I'm only pointing out the ones in terms of power are going to be Double Tap and Deadshot Daiquiri. And if you have a cool augment camo, you could also put on Death Perception, but that's not important, you don't even need that. But besides that, for your field upgrade, equipment, and streak, I mean, do what you want there. It doesn't really matter, because this Olympia really is broken at dealing with this elite enemy. I mean, look at how fast it kills this abomination. Yeah, it's already over. Now for Citadelle Des Morts, and for the guns you want to use, first the sword. It can be whichever one you prefer, but I actually recommend using rather the void or light one, and it's not too important, but I just like using this for the in-between phases while you're waiting for it to actually fight the boss and you're just killing regular zombies. That's the only reason you're really going to be using it. But what's important is the gun you choose, and what I found to be the absolute best gun for this boss fight is none other than the Strider 22, but you have to make sure you build it the right way and follow these attachments very closely. And what you want to use is a suppressor, assault grip, akimbo, very important, steady aim laser to make it easier to aim, and finally, most importantly, well, the akimbo is also as important as this one, but that's going to be the fire mod that turns it into a burst. Now, technically on paper, the Grakova is faster at killing this boss, but why I recommend the Strider more is because it's a burst instead of full auto, and it's so much easier to aim because of that. And that's very important for this boss fight because the weak points are very specific, especially the one on his chest. It's like you really need to hit that. But on top of that, it's easy to aim in general, so it's not annoying to use during regular rounds. But of course, when you do have this, make sure you have it at gold rarity, pack punch level 3, and it doesn't matter for an ammo mod for this boss fight. Now for your perks, you could rather just look on screen, use what you want to use, but once again, the most important ones are going to be double tap and deadshot daiquiri. Now something that's also very important is going to be your field upgrade, and you have to use Ether Shroud, and if you could put extension on it, that makes it even better. You'll be able to complete entire phases with the combination of extension, Ether Shroud, and the Strider 22. And for your equipment, whatever you like, and streak, you don't really need one, but if you want to bring one, the only viable one is going to be the death machine. But using this setup is absolutely broken, especially Ether Shroud Strider. The boss will just stay still, and the Strider is so powerful that not only is it great at dealing damage against its weak spots after the armor is broken off, but it is so good at breaking the armor too. Like, you're going to be able to complete all 3 of the phases of this boss fight during the activation of Ether Shroud. That's how powerful this is. It is so broken, and I love it so much, and it makes this boss fight just something else, to say the very least. Now for the tomb, and for the guns I recommend, obviously one of them is going to be the upgraded ice staff. You want to have someone in the game have that. It makes the early phases of this boss fight really easy. But then it comes to the important part of the boss fight, and that's actually going to be for dealing damage against a Sentinel artifact, and then also killing elite enemies. And you guys already know from earlier in this video that the best gun at killing elite enemies is actually the Olympia. And I really want to recommend it, but unfortunately the Olympia is so bad at dealing damage against a Sentinel artifact that I don't recommend using it at all. So instead, what I recommend is going to be, once again, the Strider 22. This thing is great at dealing with elite enemies and also will absolutely melt the Sentinel artifact. But if you want to go with the Maelstrom or something like that, that's fine too. But once again, the attachments for this are going to be the suppressor, assault grip, akimbo, steady aim laser, and the fire mod that makes it a burst. Now, you obviously want to make sure this is pack punch level 3 gold rarity. Now, something I like doing with this is using the ammo mod dead wire on this gun, because the elite enemy that I have the most trouble with is going to be the amalgam, and obviously the amalgam's weakness is dead wire, so it makes it even stronger against it. As for your perks, again, rather look on screen or use your own imaginations, but the most important ones for damage are going to be double tap and deadshot daiquiri. Now, for your field upgrade, it's your choice, whatever you really want to use. Personally, I like Ether Shroud because I could rather use this offensively to fight the elite enemies, or I could use it defensively when I'm shooting the Sentinel artifacts. And if you want to ensure more zombies stay off you while shooting the Sentinel artifacts, you could also bring in some Casimir grenades, but it could be whatever you want. And for your streak, you're not going to need it, but the most viable one for this boss fight is going to be the death machine. But using this Strider, you will see yourself that this thing absolutely melts all of the elite enemies, but also will absolutely melt the Sentinel artifact, making it my favorite gun for this boss fight. Now for Shattered Veil. Now, in terms of loadout, it's actually very interesting because there is a gun that I'm going to tell you guys is the absolute best at dealing with this boss fight, but it's kind of interesting because the gun that most people use is actually going to be the blue ray gun Mark II. And the reason so many people like it, and in fact I use it most time even though it's not the best gun, is because you don't even need a triple pack a punch it, which saves you so much money. Like, double pack punch blue ray gun Mark II is absolutely great for this boss fight. But With that said, there is a couple guns that are better, and one shout out to the full auto version of the SVD that is so fun to use, but unfortunately there's one gun that stands above the rest for this boss fight, and that's once again going to be the Strider 22. As you guys can tell, it's probably just the best overall gun for this game in general. And once again, the attachments for this are going to be the suppressor, assault grip, akimbo, steady aim laser, and the burst fire mod. Make sure you have this gun gold rarity, pack punch level 3, and no need for an ammo mod if you don't want one. And for the perks, rather look on screen, use what you want, but the most important ones in terms of damage are going to be double tap and deadshot daiquiri. Now for your field upgrade, I recommend using Frenzy Guard with the augments Frenzy Fired and extension, and this is just a way to get a poor man's free fire, except you're also invincible practically while you're using it too, so it's even doubly cool. Now for your equipment, something that is very important is going to be your tactical. Make sure you put on stim shots, because sometimes during this boss fight, the boss will catch up to you and just spam attack you, and most of the times that would kill you, especially when it throws you in air, but you could actually save yourself just by stimming during this, so you won't actually end up going down. And finally, in terms of your streak, it's going to be the chopper gunner as usual, so still the best one for this, and it's not even necessary when you're using the Strider, but if you do want to play it safe, you could bring this in and practically skip a whole phase of this boss fight. But with this setup and using this Strider, you will see the absolute damage you could deal to this boss fight, especially if you're focusing in on his critical points, which are going to be his eye and then his side every now and then. You will be able to fly through this boss fight. And to really give you an idea of this, when I was using the Blue Ray Gun Mark II double pack-a-punch, I'd complete this boss fight in about 10 minutes. But when I was using the Strider 22, I was able to complete it under 7 minutes. That's literally 3 minutes faster, which is absolutely insane in terms of time saving. But it's up to you if you think those 3 minutes are worth waiting to get a gun to gold rarity and pack punch level 3 instead of just double pack punching your blue ray gun. Up to you guys. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. I'll probably make an updated version of this video if anything changes, any new cool best guns are added to the game, and also just make an update to it whenever DLC 4 comes out and we figure out the best strategy for beating that boss fight too, or I guess the best loadout. But once again, I appreciate you guys really so much for watching the video, especially if you're watching to this point. But that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.